Hello. I'd like you to set up a notes chart, a T chart, in your learning log that looks something like this. On one side, write pro junk food, okay? And then leave a few bullet points. Leave lots of space on your page. As you're reading through the article, when you see a argument, a claim, reasons, evidence that's for junk food, remember pro means they're for it, okay? Then you're going to record it in your notes chart. And that's one way that you get credit for this assignment. When you are reading and you see arguments, claims, evidence, reasons that are against or anti-junk food, reasons that are against or anti-junk food, okay? The other word we use is con, on the con side. When you see those reasons, evidence, and arguments, you're going to write them on this side of your T chart that you write in your notebook. And since this is a video, you can pause it here so you can write this down in your learning log or your notebook so that when we do our reading, you can pause the video as you go and you can add this to your notes in your learning log. And make sure that you date today's date in your learning log. Thank you. Hello. So we're going to start a debate about junk food at school. The question is it your right? Like, do you have a right to eat whatever you want at school? Do you have a right to buy whatever you want to eat at school? So is it your right or is it totally wrong? So the question is a play on words, like right and wrong, good or bad, and is it your right? Do you have the choice to do what you want? So that's the question. Junk food at school, is it your right or totally wrong? So that's the question you're going to answer when you write your argument. So this is something called a data file, which has lots of statistics about the issue. So I'm going to read through it with you, and I want you to annotate the text. When you annotate here, think about whether the statistic is on the pro or the con side. So the pro side would be, yes, it's my right. And the con side would be, no, junk food should not be at school. Okay? So as you read, that's what you're looking for. Okay. American students are facing a health crisis. This is a serious problem, a crisis. By the way, when you hear me explain what a word is, you need to write that down. American students are facing a health crisis, a serious health problem. Is school food part of the problem, or is it part of the solution? Dun, dun, dun. So I see problem, solution, text structure here. Interesting. Okay. The first heading, a health crisis. Again, crisis means serious problem. Obesity has a serious impact on health. It can lead to diabetes, heart disease, and other life-threatening illnesses. Recent studies show that 1 in 3 American children and teens is overweight or obese. This rate has tripled in the last 40 years. And this is from the American Heart Association. So that is a respected source. It's not from some blog, some website. This is the American Heart Association. This is respected. And 2010, it's not that old. So the statistic is saying that 1 out of 3 children and teenagers are overweight or obese, and that has gone up a lot in the last 40 years. Okay, so would you say that this is saying that health food is your right, junk food is your right, or junk food should not be right at school, is wrong at school. If 1 out of 3 kids has a weight problem, obviously junk food's going to lead to that. So we would say this one is definitely saying junk food, no, not at school. Okay, let's look at the next statistic. Food by the numbers. Over 30 million students eat school lunches every day. That's a lot of kids. That adds up to 150 million trays of cafeteria food per week. The government has nutritional standards for school lunches. For example, lunch cannot contain more than 30% of calories from fat. And again, this is a respected source. This is the United States Department of Agriculture, Food, and Nutrition Science, 2009. So it's saying that the food that's served in school has standards. Now, does junk food have standards? So if there's a healthy lunch being served, but the kids just eat the chips or the fries that they buy from the snack stand, that is not what this would agree with, right? Okay. So let's look at the last section. Junk food for sale. In 2010, vending machines were available in 52% of middle schools and 88% of high schools. Using vending machines can be an expensive habit. A student can spend up to $10 a week on vending machine food. About 22% of students from elementary school to high school buy food in vending machines every day. The food adds an average of 253 calories per day to each student's diet. Journal of School Health, 2010. Okay. So it says kids are buying food from vending machines, not eating the healthy school lunches. Okay, and that adds extra calories a day. So, extra calories can lead to weight problems. So far in all of these statistics, I only see statistics that say no junk food. I don't see any that say yay junk food. So right away, I'm definitely seeing a bias, and that bias is health first, right? Especially for children. Okay. So as you read through it, think about the statistics that you see, and is there anything as you read through it again that you would argue back, you would talk back against these statistics? So go back through it one more time, and since they didn't give you the other side, the pro right to eat the junk food I want to eat, why don't you write down some of your thoughts? Food Fight by Dora Rodriguez. How do teens feel about junk food in school? Opinions range from pro-junk food to pro-health food. We're teenagers. We don't want healthy food, explains Caleb Lewis, a teen from Portland, Oregon. I'm a quarterback on the football team, says Kyron Evans from New York, so I've got to stay healthy. Got to get my arms strong. He takes nutrition seriously. He regularly eats salad with his lunch. Lunch for me is chips, soda, maybe a chocolate ice cream taco, says Nicole Talbot. She buys her lunch at a market near school. Essence Crumb, I guess that's her name, Essence Crumb avoids junk food. The track athlete from Tampa, Florida says, at practice, coach is always telling me, you need water, You need fruits and vegetables if you want to win that race. That motivates me to eat right. The war on junk food in schools started about a decade ago. That is when studies revealed the epidemic of obesity in young people. That is when studies revealed the epidemic of obesity in young people. So epidemic meaning it's serious and the numbers are increasing and it's a problem. That is when studies revealed the epidemic of obesity in young people. Soon the government, schools, parents, and students took sides on the issue. The food fight still goes on. Your body is the battleground. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, before we keep reading this article, now that we've gotten through the introduction to the issue, it's really important that we pay attention to the text organization and structure here. This is a debate, which means our author is giving us both sides of the issue here. The arguments for saying no to junk food in school and the arguments for saying yes to junk food in school. So when you see something like this in a debate, you're making sure that the author is really giving you a balance on both sides of the argument. Is the author giving you a balance on both sides of the argument? Or is the no side going to get more attention? So that would not be balanced if the no side gets more attention than the yes side. Okay? So as you're reading, pay attention to how many reasons the author gives on each side and how strong the evidence is. Now let me erase some of those scribbles and let's read it. No to junk food in school. First Lady Michelle Obama admits that she loves burgers, fries, ice cream, and cake. Who doesn't? However, she adds, the problem is when that fun stuff becomes the habit. And I think that's what's happened in our culture. Fast food has become the everyday meal. Mrs. Obama wants to prevent childhood obesity. She believes serving nutritious food in schools would benefit that goal. Snacking on junk food in school adds up to about 14 extra pounds per child per year. Now that's an exploded quote. The federal government will not fund junk food as part of school lunch. However, schools can still sell candy bars, soda, potato chips, and other high-fat snack foods on lunch lines or in vending machines. Many people think that is setting a bad example. One teacher says, the message we send by having all these deals. Let's go to the next column. The message we send by having all these deals with junk food peddlers, and peddlers means people who are selling, sellers. The message this sends with the deals we have with junk food peddlers is that this stuff is okay. Studies indicate that snacking on junk food in school adds up to about 14 extra pounds per child per school year. Well, that's a lot of weight for a kid. California is a leader in the prevention of childhood obesity. It was one of the first states to ban junk food in public schools. And here, ban means no junk food, to ban junk food. So ban means to prohibit. It means saying no to it. Like if you said this in a sign, no. A recent study shows that the policy has been beneficial. It's been good. Within 3 years, the trend of overweight students decreased. Education about healthy eating also helped. Kids have no idea what a calorie is, says Zenobia Barlow, a California-based educator. But when they're told they'll have to run 6 laps to work off a bag of chips, it starts to change behaviors. Okay, now we're getting to the next section, yes to junk food. But before you go on, pause the video here, go back and reread this section. And now I want you to read it and look for what text structures the author is using. Put a nice big box around any text structure signal words that you see inside the paragraphs. And I'll give you a hint. Here's one right here. I'm going to take my pencil and I'll put a box around it because now I see some sort of text structure. Kids have no idea what a calorie is, but when they're told they'll have to run 6 laps to work off a bag of chips, it starts to change behavior. So even though that word might show you a compare and contrast, here it almost shows, I think, cause and effect. If they know they have to run 6 laps to work off a bag of chips, the effect is they might not eat so many chips. It might start to change their behavior. So please go through the previous section before you move on and mark your text. Put boxes around signal words and tell me on the margin what text structure you think you see. Okay, are you ready for the next section? The next section in the debate is the yes to junk food side. I know you're excited about it, so here we go. Yes to junk food in school. Many people are against banning junk food in schools. They want to make all food choices available to students. John Dively, executive director of the Illinois Principals Association, says this, quote, "An across-the-board junk food ban does not teach young people how to make healthy choices. It simply removes some of their options." For many students, school vending machines are an appealing option. The most popular vending machine items include candy, chips, crackers, cookies, cakes, and soft drinks. Many students use vending machine food to tide them over between lunch and dinner. And here, tide them over is an idiom that means it helps them so they're not so hungry, helps them last in between meals. Eddie Livesay, a student from Tampa, Florida, says, "The people who go to the vending machines are the ones that have sports after school or other activities. They need the extra energy to survive the day." Good point. Food sales also have a major financial impact for many schools. They use the money to buy expensive equipment for sports teams or other clubs. At Orange County High School in Virginia, a candy cart appears in hallways 3 times a day. The cart nets, that means it makes profit, of about $400 to $500 a week from candy sales. It's not so much the money, yeah, right. It's not so much the money as the service it offers to the kids, explains the principal. I'm sorry, but I have to question that. Okay, sorry, that's my opinion. It's not so much the money as the service it offers to the kids, explains the principal. I'd like to give our kids all the opportunities I can. Okay, and that's the end of the running text. But at the very bottom here, you see a graphic. Okay, let's take a moment and study this graphic. It says snacks in middle and high school vending machines. And take a moment and you notice the key here. Candy, chips, cookies. Okay, so what is the largest type of snack sold? Okay, candy, right? 42%. How about chips? Right, chips is 25%. Now you would say those are probably the two most unhealthy things for people to eat all the time, candy and chips. They're also the two yummiest, but the two most unhealthy, along with this one. Okay, so what are the smallest percentages sold? That would be the more healthy options, such as nuts, trail mix, fruits, veggies, other snacks, granola, cereal bars, low-fat chips, pretzels. Okay. What's interesting is that the high school I worked at for this current job, these are the snacks that the vending machines sold. Only these, because these are the healthier options.